You are now listening to the Mike's Opinion podcast. Coming up is part 2 of a 7-part series entitled Healing.
Have you ever had your emotions take control? Have your emotions ever got the best of you? Have they ever overflowed? We're going to talk about emotions today, and I'm emotional today. Very emotional today. But before I talk about that, I want to just explain what I'm doing. This is part 2 of a 7-part series. And the series is entitled Healing. And healing is an acronym that I've created. And it stands for hate, emotion, anger, love, involvement, negativity, giving. H.E.A.L.I.N.G. Healing. The first installment in this 7-part series was entitled Hate, and feel free to go back and listen to it. The overall main objective is healing for all of us. My podcast is listened to worldwide, and I'd like us to all heal, to let love live, control our emotions, get rid of hate, anger, and negativity. Get involved and start giving each other a good life on planet Earth. Now, the first episode and several of these episodes are going to take us through a path that will be very challenging. You know, this is not going to be smooth sailing. It's not going to be all sunshine. There are going to be some storms, some dark days, some dark nights. But it's necessary to have these honest conversations. And mine is just one of many. We have to find a way to come together. Now, I've said in the hate episode and in other episodes of my podcast that I'm not terribly optimistic, and that there may be fundamentally something wrong with humans. Well, we're going to get to all of that. Okay, because right now, I just wanted to break down, what this is in terms of the episode and the acronym healing. And this is the second episode, which addresses the letter E in the word healing. And the episode is entitled Emotion. And I started out by asking the question, have your emotions ever got the best of you? Have they? Have you overflowed with emotions? Well, today, and I try not to, some say it's a good thing to add dates to your podcast, but think of it as a newspaper, the dates on it, right? So I'm going to tell you what day it is. Today is May 27th, and I'm sad. I am angry. I am emotional. I'm experiencing a range of emotions. And this is due in part to something that happened Monday, May 25th in America, in the city of Minneapolis in the state of Minnesota. If you haven't heard, if you haven't seen the video, go see the video. Rest in peace, my brother George Floyd, 46-year-old black man, African-American man, died Monday. Again, at the hands of the police, those that are sworn to protect us. Now, I'm always real with it, right? What was he doing? What is he doing to get caught up in that situation? You know, and from what I can determine, he fit the description of a forgery suspect. And regardless, you know, a lot of people like to say, well, did he deserve it? What was he doing? No, he didn't deserve this. And I'll tell you why. He didn't deserve it because the police are supposed to be trained in diffusing, de-escalating, arresting, getting control of situations. They can do so without murdering someone. Can you hear the emotion in me? But I will not become the hater. Guess what? Yeah, I'm angry, but I will not put hate in my heart for the killer, for the hater, for the Klansman, for the racist, for the ignorant. I will not hate you. I refuse to hate you. So I control my emotions. Part of me wants to, by any means necessary, that. You know what I'm saying? But I'm not going to become the hater. I wish Mr. Floyd was here with us today. Now, he might be sitting in a jail cell. He might have been falsely accused. He might have been released. You know, the what ifs or could have, should have, would have's are gone. Because there's another dead black man, and I watched the video yesterday, and this was clearly murder. You could almost see the intention on the police officer's face. Now, Minneapolis moved swiftly. All cops, all 4 of the police officers involved in that incident are fired. And their names are the 4 police officers that were terminated by the Minneapolis Police Department. I can't talk today. Minneapolis Police Department were Derek Chauvin, Thomas Lane, Tao, and J. Alexander Quang, or Kang. And I'm not sure I'm pronouncing these names correctly. These names were found in a very recent New York Times article. So they've released the names of these officers, and may God protect them. Okay? Old Testament says eye for eye. New Testament says turn the other cheek. As if you believe in the Holy Bible and the Christianity. You know, hard not to want vengeance. I'm a black man. I've been in situations where I could have been murdered. And as a black man, any black person lives with that as a reality in their life, that you may be murdered at the hands of a police officer. Forget all the other dangers and all the other systematic oppression. So I'm emotional today. And it just so happens I was going to do the second installment today. Actually, I was going to do it last night, but I figured I needed to calm down a bit, because I want us all, the central message in me addressing emotion, when I put together that healing acronym, emotion is to urge all of us to control our emotions, because sometimes when our emotion gets the best of us, it's not good. And that could be anyway, too much emotion. I've done quite a bit of research, and I'm going to share some things with you that I've learned about emotion. But before I move on, once again, I want to give the utmost respect to Mr. Floyd and his family. George Floyd, 46 years old. May you rest in peace, man. May the angels carry you home. May your spirit be at peace. And I mean that wholeheartedly. Okay. Emotion. According to Merriam-Webster's website, the definition of emotion, I have several definitions that I looked up, but the definition of emotion is a natural instinctive state of mind deriving from one's circumstances, mood, or relationships with others. It's a noun. A state of feeling is another definition. Another definition is a conscious mental reaction, subjectively experienced as strong feelings, usually directed toward a specific object and typically accompanied by physiological and behavioral changes in the body. So just on that last definition, changes in the body, physiological changes and behavioral changes. Your emotions can make you switch what you're going to do. Right? There are several, and I found several different types, 7 types, 10 types of basic emotions. But here are some common ones that were among all the lists. Happiness, sadness, fear, disgust, anger, surprise, contempt, shame, guilt, joy, excitement. Those are just some. And we all know we've all had emotions, right? There used to be this song by this group, Emotions Make You Cry Sometime. I can't remember the name. I think they were out of Florida. Anyway, it was a good song. Emotions are running high right now, again, in the black community and in those that care community. And there are a community of those that care, regardless of color. I saw a good, I guess it's a meme from LeBron James. And this affected this latest one, which is really just breaking. The flow of this has just, like it's the faucet has just been opened. I fear something drastic may happen. The protesters already clashed with police already. This may get much uglier. But not King James, that's his Instagram, I think. But LeBron James had a good meme. I don't know if that's the first place I saw it. I don't know if he was responsible for it or not. But it was a picture, split picture. On the left side was the actual photo of the police officer, with his knee on the neck of Mr. George Floyd. And then, so it's the cop kneeling down on Mr. Floyd's neck. And then on the other side, the other picture was Colin Kaepernick taking a knee in his football uniform at a football game, big afro. And at the top, across both pictures, the one with the cop kneeling on Mr. Floyd's neck said "this," And then on top of the other picture says, is why, with Colin Kaepernick kneeling. And I hope I painted that properly. You can probably easily look it up. But it was very effective. And this is why Colin Kaepernick kneeled. He didn't kneel because he didn't hate it, because he hates the country. He kneeled. Colin Kaepernick, the football player who's caught hell from protesting, kneeled in protest of this exact thing. Police brutality. So the emotions are running high. And I believe if we as a species can learn to control our emotions. Now, control is much different than ignoring. Ignoring emotions is going to lead to suppressing them, and eventually they're going to come out because we are human. We are human. Is that a flaw? I've dared to say that there may be something fundamentally wrong with us humans, because from the dawn of time, as long as records were kept, we cannot get along with each other. In small groups, large groups, one-on-one. What the fuck is wrong with us? And I'm not just talking about just the hateful, racist police officers that commit murder in broad daylight in the middle of the street. I'm talking about all of us who are not the Dalai Lama, who are not Martin Luther King, who are not post-Mecca visit Malcolm X, who choose peace, who choose calm, and to keep calm, stay calm. Would the world be boring? Would you feel bored if there was no drama, no peace, no emotion? Imagine that for a second. Just step back and imagine if all of us were emotionless. That would mean no laughter, right? Because to feel happiness and joy invokes laughter. That would mean no anger. No anger. That would mean no sadness. No sadness. None of the emotions. We would just interact plainly. But that's not realistic, right? Because if you look at the animal kingdom, even they have emotions. And if you listen to my episode Pets, or any of my other episodes that I've mentioned them, I've been born into pet cohabitation. And I've had them all my life. And I'm an advocate for nature and for pets. So I can tell you without a doubt that non-human creatures, animals, have emotions. So it's not the emotions that's our problem as humans. You know, I could tell I have 2 cats and a dog right now. I could tell when my dog's happy. I could tell when she's sad. I could tell when she's mad. I could tell when she's frustrated, like she's trying to get something with her paw. You know, all these emotions. My cats have emotions. I saw a bird. I have a wonderful video of a bird who thought he was trying to get this string in my yard. It's in a past episode. I can't remember which episode, but it was a blue jay, and he was frustrated because the string he was trying to get was not detached. It was tied to something, but he kept trying, and he finally flew off in frustration. I watched a bird get frustrated. Emotions exist. Maybe when a volcano goes off, it's when the earth is angry. Maybe it's got indigestion. I don't know. What I do know is that in us humans, emotions can be detrimental. And if we can find a way to control our emotions, once again, not ignore them, but to control our emotions, I believe we'll be better off. I believe we will be much better off if we can control our emotions. Emotion has a substantial influence on the cognitive processes in humans, including perception, attention, learning, memory, reasoning, and problem solving. Emotion has a particularly strong influence on attention, especially modulating the selectivity of attention, as well as motivating action and behavior. And that comes from a website called frontiersend.org. I stumbled upon that when I was doing my research, and I jotted that down because that was very interesting to me. How emotion influences our attention, right? Like right now, hearing about this murder of Mr. George Floyd and then watching the video invoked emotions in me that focused me on this issue. And watching the video and checking out other people's memes and comments and, their expressed emotions on primarily social media. And, it just so happens I was getting ready to do this episode. I had done the first installment. I needed to do the second one. If you listen to my podcast, I am at least weekly. Mostly on Thursdays is when I will put out a new episode. So, emotions are intertwined in everything, that we do, right? Yeah. So I have to ask, how do you deal with your emotions? Do you control them? Sometimes they're hard to control. I mean, let's be honest about it. And not even just the negative ones. You ever been in love? Like for real love? Like, wow, love? Romantic love? And especially if it's new, you can't stop thinking about that person, right? The feelings, it goes deeper than that. I remember a song from Prince, and the line says, the word love is too weak to define just what you mean to me. I believe the song is Adore. And it's deeper. It's entrenched in every fiber in your soul, your brain, your heart, and it's like another kind of love. Love for your children. For those of us that are parents, there is no word. Love is the only word that we have to use because another one hasn't been created. But the love you have for your child involves a variety of emotions all stuffed into that one word of love. Right? So these emotions that we have, they rule us. Or do you rule yours? I dare say the female species is more emotional than men. Let the feminists start swinging. I'm ducking. It's true. If you listen to my episode called Women, then you know how I feel about the whole situation. Women are women, men are men. We are different fundamentally in a lot of ways. And women are far more emotional than men. However, men have emotions too. We have emotions. Yes, we do. They're just not as easily surfaced. But they're definitely there. You know. How do we use our emotions to heal each other? Basic core question of this episode. That's what I want to ask. That's the dialogue I would like to open. How do we use our emotions to heal each other, to help each other? I have an answer to that question. Most likely one of many answers, and that's control. That's the first thing. Control our emotions. Now, that's easier said than done, but doable. One of the things that I've also done in several episodes is breathing. Deep breath in, breathe out. And that's very effective. There's a lot of science behind deep breathing and breathing techniques. And that's a useful tool, regardless of the emotion that you're experiencing that may be overwhelming you or taking control of you. But I know there's a lot of us out there hurting right now after watching yet another murder of a black man at the hands of the police. I know, and I know it's heart-wrenching and frustrating and sad. Oh goodness, it's sad, like sad. Okay, but just before this story happened, there was another story that broke, and I want to say Monday or Friday, I believe it was, and it involved a gentleman named Christian Cooper. Have you heard this one? How did it make you feel? What emotions were processed then? Mr. Cooper was bird watching in Central Park in New York City. He's an avid bird watcher and a board member of the Audubon Society. Okay? Yes, he happens to be black. He's in this part of Central Park often, and he may have startled this woman as he comes out the bush, but this woman is breaking the rules. This white woman who has her dog off the leash. Long story short, they exchange words. The white lady calls the police and says that this black man is threatening her life, which was not true. They both left before the cops got there. But Mr. Christian Cooper was later interviewed on CNN, and he asked people not to send this lady death threats, whose last name was also Cooper. Well, how ironic. The black man with the last name Cooper, the white woman with the last name Cooper. Subsequently, this lady has been fired from her job at an investment firm, and she's been getting death threats. She's publicly apologized somewhat, but it hadn't seemed to matter because people's emotions are running high. Okay? As a black person over 50 years of age, I can tell you something I feel, something many other black people feel. It's tired, frustrated, so tired. Most of us have been dealing with these kind of things since birth. In fact, for centuries, we've been dealing with our murders, our disenfranchisements. So our emotions may be a little different. I watched a pro ball player, it wasn't LeBron James, but another one, said there's no more tears to cry. And he cried out for white people's help. I believe he was a football player. And he says everybody cried out when the black football player hit the white football player in the head with a helmet last season. Where's the outrage now? There isn't any, because it's just yet another black man dead on the street. So, emotions have been running high. Emotions have been running high because of the pandemic. Which, by the way, as of today, there are 5,781,649 cases worldwide, according to worldometers.com, which may or may not be a good website. 356,000 deaths. If you listen to any of my other pandemic COVID-19 episodes, and you know that in comparison to other pandemics, this is not bad. Other pandemics have caused tens of millions of deaths relatively quickly. Hopefully we do not get there, but I digress. Have you heard of Plutchik's Wheel of Emotions? Robert Plutchik. And that's spelled Plutchik for those who care to do their own research. He, born in 1927, died in 2006. He was a professor at the Albert Einstein College of Medicine. Also a professor at the University of South Florida. He had a PhD from Columbia. I'm mentioning all that to say he has a very famous wheel that he, as a psychologist, and other psychiatrists and psychologists have referred to, and it's called Plutchik's Wheel of Emotion. It's gone into deep analysis on how emotion is connected to human life and human life experience. But when you look at it, there are so many, and there's rage, anger, and annoyance in one section of the wheel, terror, fear, and apprehension in another one, ecstasy, joy, serenity in another one, grief, sadness, pensiveness, loathing, disgust, boredom, contempt, awe, submission, optimism. All of these things that we feel, right? Would we be better off without feeling? Would we be better off without feeling? I don't want to not. When I think of the feeling, some songs or some people or some experiences have brought to me, have brought out in me, I don't live without that. Do you? Do you want to be an emotionless creature? Probably not. So, control is the answer, y'all. It's a step. It's a tool in the right direction. So, breathe and think before you act. And I asked the question, how do we use emotions to heal? What emotions can we use to heal? Can you think of any? I can think of some that are on Plutchik's wheel. Acceptance. Accept yourself and accept others. Trust. That's a hard one, right? Ooh, trust. They say trust has to be earned. You can't just give it freely. What about empathy? How about we all incorporate some empathy? And if you don't know what empathy is consideration for someone else's experience. You know, what they may be going through. Empathize. Be sensitive to another person's needs. While my emotions run high right now, as they do with every story, and then you start going back. When I was doing the research for the first installment, Hate, I went down the rabbit hole, and I must have watched the Eric Garner video half a dozen times. I refuse to become the hater. And I don't want you to become the hater either. I know we want justice. I know we want balance. I know some of us want vengeance. But if you're a Christian, you know that God says, vengeance is mine. Vengeance is mine, saith the Lord. I don't know how we solve this racial problem. I don't think we can, honestly. And that makes me sad. When I say those words and when I think about it, it saddens me deeply. You know, because you think with each generation it's going to get a little bit better, a little bit better. Well, it's going at such a snail's pace that it doesn't seem like it will ever get better. But it has, right? Black people are not slaves anymore. Well, that's subjective. So, yeah. Control your emotions, y'all. Let us try and give it the best effort we can and control ourselves. You know, control is the only real tool, the only starting place. According to Wikipedia, when I looked up emotions are biological states associated with the nervous system brought on by neurophysiological changes variously associated with thoughts, feelings, behavioral responses, and a degree of pleasure or displeasure. This next sentence was very interesting to me and something that I found out before I read this sentence when I was doing my research. It reads, there is currently no scientific consensus on a definition. You know what that means? Scientifically, the scientists can't really agree on a definition for emotion, for the word emotion. You know why? Do you know why? Because don't nobody know. Nobody knows these feelings, these emotions. Now, a lot of psychologists, psychiatrists, they think they know everything. They think they've got human beings fully figured out and they know how to rectify all the situations. Yeah, right. That Wikipedia blurb that I mentioned goes on to finish to say, emotion is often intertwined with mood, temperament, personality, disposition, creativity, and motivation. So, as I've mentioned, it's in everything. So, what is emotion? I've given you these definitions. The scientists can't agree on it. What is it? Is it something we can identify at a molecular level, at a DNA level, that we can pluck out the negative emotions? Imagine if everybody was happy. There was no anger for nothing. Oh, you crashed my car? Oh, I'm sorry. Have a nice day. Yeah, no problem. Like, no anger. You stepped on my fresh Timbs, son? Yo, have a great day. I'm just going to go wipe them off. No problem. Yo, I caught you in bed with my wife. It's all good. I hope y'all had a good time. I'll see you later. Okay? Yeah. Go ahead and do what you do. Let me know when you're finished. All right. Bye. You killed a black man in the street? Cop? But that wouldn't happen, right? If we were all happy. Rewind that. Because that wouldn't happen. Because the hate and envy and jealousy wouldn't be in that white cop's heart if we were all happy. Right? So Mr. Floyd wouldn't end up dead on the street with a cop's neck. With a cop's knee in his neck. So I'd be willing to explore that. A vaccine, maybe even. Or genetic engineering. If you knew for a fact that we can go to the doctor, they can genetically remove anger, hostility, and racism, and all these negative things, right? Would you do it? For me, they would have to spray the air, so I know everybody's getting it, or some way to verify, because you know there's going to be those that want to keep that heat, right? They're going to want to keep that anger, because that's going to give them an edge, right? Does anger give you the edge? Does it? I know hate doesn't. Hate is like a cancer. Just eats you up from the inside. But I would like to see a clinical trial on that. If they can identify that gene or genes, I think that would be a wonderful, wonderful thing. As I've said, I just want to heal. I want to engage in healing for everybody, and I want my podcast to affect the world positively. That is my only wish. It's my only hope. It's my only intent. And I think controlling our emotions is a step in the right direction. I think finding a way to not let the negative emotions especially overflow to stifle them like I did, because I was going to record this episode last night, but I decided to step back after I watched the video, read the comments, and I put all that away, meditated, and put out positive vibes and thoughts. And then I poured me a drink. Just had to refocus. I had to control my emotions. It's very important. Because I don't want to spew no hatred. I'm not a hateful person. Not a hateful bone in my body. But when you see, hear, and learn about yet another murderous tragedy of a human being, and a black human being in America, being a black man in America, it is a challenge not to want to do something actionable, not to be infuriated and become hateful. But I will not become the hater. Okay? Those cops have lost their jobs. The FBI is involved. And they will probably be brought to justice because this has gone public. But we've seen stuff go public before and everybody gets acquitted. So, we don't know. We don't know. But, how do we use emotion to help us all heal? How do we as humans use emotion to help us all heal? Please think about that. And please help each other. Stay safe out there. I'm Mike, and this has been Mike's Opinion.
Thank you for listening to the Mike's Opinion podcast. Please, let's control ourselves and let love live.